This video discusses the service level management workflow. The workflow is used when your clients request some additional services from your organization, and those services might also require some additional service level agreements. The workflow is quite comprehensive. There are several roles in the workflow: the client, the service level manager, the sales department, the service manager, and the chief operation officer. But I will take you through some of the stages in this workflow, and we will remain in the area where we include the client, the service level manager, and the sales department. So let's see how this works in reality. Being the requester, anybody in the organization might initiate this workflow, and we will just go down and choose the service level management sample. So let's do so, and we will define our needs. We need you to operate our new system, and the business requirements. We need more than business hours in terms of availability. And maybe we should spell it correctly. So, having filled in those pieces of information, we are now allowed to submit. And we are actually handing over this request to the client. It might be the client that already issued this request, but to be sure, we are now handing over the request to the actual client. And the task for the client is to write some kind of statement of requirements. Let's say that the client knows the different service levels and requests for instance, the silver level. Whatever that is, the silver level, and we might just save. And as we can see in the left pane, it's now possible to hand over the request to reception. We are in the statement of requirements stage, and now we will hand over the request to the reception. And who is reception? That is our sales department. They will receive this request. So let's jump over to the sales role and click on my space. And here we have the requests. And as there is a blue pencil, it's possible for the sales department to dive into this request. And the first task is to find the sufficient service. If there were no service regarding this request, we will have to involve a lot of other roles, but we will not do that in this example. We will just say that this is regarding operations management. We will select that service and press save. And having done that, we are now allowed to move forward to the next stage, which is draft proposal. As this is still a task for the sales department, we can stay in the request and in the form. And now we will have to draft a quote. And we do that in the field joint proposal. So what is the quote? So that is our analysis. We have drafted a quote, or a proposal, sorry, and now we are able to proceed to draft quote. And as this is not maybe the best way to present our code to the customer, we will write something more appropriate for the customer. This will be very cheap, and that was the quote. We are now able to save it, and then we can hand back the quote to the client. So let's do so. We will hand back the quote. And now it is handed over to the client. So let's jump over to the client role, who will look at his or her space, and here it is. We need you to operate our new system as it was requested initially from the requester or the client. So let's jump into this form. And now there are two possibilities or a choice. If the client is happy with the quote, he and or her may just press outline service level requirements and indicating that we can proceed with the negotiations. And if the client was not happy with the quote, he or her may ask the sales department to draft the proposal once more. But let's just say that the client is happy, and the client presses outline service level requirements, and this means that the request is now handed over to the service level manager. Being the service level manager, we will look into the space, and here it is. We need you to operate our new system, and the blue pencil indicates that the service level manager is now allowed to dive into the request and may then proceed with the outlining of service level requirements. So this was a quick example of how to initiate the service level management workflow and how the client may discuss the quotes with the organization as it was listed on this picture.